Bonanza 30 Romeo, runway 34 would calm, clear to land.
Clear to land for 34, 30 Romeo.
Bonanza 9530 Romeo, Salem Tower, do you read? Bonanza 9530 Romeo, Salem Tower, do you read?
Tuesday, February 1, 2022, Dan Grider, probable cause. This is a bad one. It's pretty late. I don't even know how long it's going to take me to edit this video and get it on the air, but this one's important. This is a Bonanza crash out in Salem, Oregon. A guy named Daniel and his wife Cynthia McKenna. This is the reason I do these videos, is because if any couple in America deserved to not die senselessly in their Bonanza, it was this couple. And the mistake that they made was so simple and so preventable. And our government is not going to figure it out, and they're not going to tell you, and they're going to sweep this under the rug. It's only been a few days since Daniel and Cynthia died in their Bonanza, but I'm going to tell you what they did wrong, and I'm going to tell you how you can not do this, because it's very simple. It's a matter of understanding what they did so that you don't have to do the same thing. Our deepest respects to these family and friends. My message here is not for monetization or to make money or to sell anything, because I don't have anything to sell. I want you to understand what these kids did. And I call them kids, but Daniel was 66, Cynthia was 61. Daniel's been flying a long time, private pilot, not a tremendous amount of flight time, but day VFR, calm winds, long runway, and they died in their Bonanza. Let's figure out what they did here, and I want you to know, and I want you to understand. So we're going to get into this. The date was January 29, Saturday afternoon out there in the state of Oregon. Here's the headlines for this thing. 2 die in single-engine aircraft crash at the Salem airport. Daniel McKenna, 66, Cynthia McKenna, 61. And then it goes on to say that that there's no information on the cause of the crash. Here's the registration for this airplane. It was their airplane, November 9530 Romeo. It's a K-35 Bonanza, which makes it an old one, 1959, but still a really good V-tail with a 3-bladed prop. It's got an IO-470. That's key to the puzzle here. It's a pretty powerful engine, about 265 horse, fuel-injected Continental IO-470, great engine, and that was their airplane. Now let's take a look at their flight path here. They had flown in from Troutdale, where they were based. They flew down to Salem to have lunch at the restaurant. They left Troutdale full on fuel. They came down, about a 30-minute flight. They had lunch. It was a really nice day. They met with some friends. And then on the way back out, they decided, Daniel apparently decided that he wanted to do a little bit of self-training, self-proficiency, so he's going to get another landing. So here he is taxiing out of Salem, and he tells ATC, let's listen to the ATC tape here. He tells ATC he wants to do a circuit in the traffic pattern, but he wants it to be full stop. Here's the ATC audio from the last few seconds, and you can hear at the very end, his crash was not a fireball. ATC from the tower couldn't even tell if this was survivable or not.
Bonanza 9530 Romeo, Salem Tower, do you read?
And that's how come at the very end there, they're trying to communicate with 9530 Romeo. They see him land and go off the left-hand side, but they don't know if this is significant or not. That's how insignificant this crash was, and how easily the human body can be damaged. The human body is so fragile, it doesn't take much, and it's over. We got to do a much better job on this thing. So they did left closed traffic on runway 34 at Salem, full stop, and the traffic pattern on FlightAware and all the data, it looks perfect. Perfect traffic pattern, perfect speeds. This is not a DMMS problem. These guys shot the visual approach in here, but on landing, they did have a problem. This thing bounced, and this is not Daniel's first time to bounce an airplane. I found the guy at the airport that saw and heard this airplane bounce, and then he cobbed the power to it. When he cobbed the power to it, the nose came up. This airplane pitched up, it stalled, and it rolled left, and it impacted in the grass out to the left-hand side. This is a messed up go-around. This is an AQP maneuver. He was not ready for the bounce. He was not prepared for the effect after he jammed that power to it. He was trimmed for landing, and now he's mistrimmed for takeoff, and he's got all that power. The nose comes up. This can happen to you. This can happen to you. This is a messed up go-around, and this is what he did, and this is how they died. He was not ready for the surprise go-around, and he mishandled his go-around. Turns out, not only did I find the guy that heard and watched this thing happen, so I know that's what he did, this is Daniel's second messed up go-around. Here's the flight path, and actually here's the accident report from June of 1996. I'll read it to you. The pilot was attempting, this is the same guy, Daniel McKenna, back when he was flying a 172. It was November 7849 Golf. The pilot was attempting to land on runway 20 with a crosswind from the right. The passenger, which is Cynthia, she stated, "We were coming in for landing, which seemed to be right on target. On touchdown, we became airborne 2 times, and on the 3rd time, the pilot decided to do go around when a gust of wind pushed us into a hangar off to the left, through a fence where we came to a stop." Now, there might have been a little bit of wind, but remember, P factor is pulling you to the left. You need right rudder with full power. Even in that little Chicken Hawk 172, he still needed some rudder with full power and the nose up. It pulled him to the left. That's his first messed up go around, but they survived it enough to make this report. The pilot reported winds variable between 15 and 20 knots, 17 miles east at Redland, California. The wind was from 330 at 12 gusting to 16. So there was some wind out there back in 1996. Ironically, the pilot's 3rd class medical was dated 4/16/93, so he was out of date on his medical. And after the crash, he decides to go get a new medical a few days after that. The medical is totally unrelated to the crash, but he was a private pilot. He reported 220 hours of flight time at the time of this crash. Here's a map. Let's take a look. This is runway 20 from back in 1996. This is runway 20, a messed up go around, but they ran it through the fence and they did not get killed. Now let's take a look at today's flight path, and you'll see the similarities here. This is runway 34. It's another messed up go around, and the airplane touches down. There's pretty much no doubt on this thing. There's no problem with the airplane. There's no problem with the weather. There's certainly no problem with the wind. There's no problem with anything. The wreckage comes to rest with the gear down. This airplane is a messed up go-around. Here's your AQP maneuvers. I've got this circled. This is a big one. Messed up go-around still bites us all the time. Day VFR and calm winds, you can die attempting a go-around, especially in a powerful airplane. Doesn't really make a lot of difference in your little low-powered Cessna 150, 100 horsepower contraptions, but you get something 250, 300, 350 horsepower single engine with one propeller out there. This thing is pulling you hard left, and mostly I want you to know this thing is pulling you skyward. When you have the power to this thing, this is pulling the nose up. You're reducing rudder authority with the nose in the air. You're reducing everything, and it's pulling you hard to the left. You have got to push that yoke forward during your go-around. Mostly go out with an instructor and practice your go-around. If you're in a Cirrus, a Bonanza, a 210, any of these high-powered monster big engine airplanes, and you're a single-engine guy, especially if you're a low-time single-engine guy, here's Daniel's credentials. He's a private pilot. By my guesstimation as of today, I think he's got about 550 hours total since he became a pilot, which should be plenty for the Bonanza. However, he wasn't ready, and I want you to be ready. I want to stop doing fatal accident YouTube videos on senseless day VFR crashes. This is the loss of 2 stellar people that had families and friends and everything else, and they're gone, and we cannot get them back. We cannot. The only thing we can do out here, folks, is prevention. Let's talk about this. I know it's only 3 days since their crash. I want you to know I've thought long and hard about this one, but I'm going to tell you straight up, that's what they did. There is no doubt about it, and we're not waiting 3 years to sweep this under the rug. Go out and get comfortable with an instructor. Go practice this stuff. The rest of these AQP maneuvers, if you want to know what AQP is, I'd be glad to tell you about it. But we have got to start doing a better job on the general aviation fatal accident record, or it's going to price us right out of business. All of our accidents are senseless, ridiculous accidents that could be prevented with knowledge. I'll say it again. They're senseless, ridiculous, fatal accidents that can fully be prevented with knowledge. I don't want to sell you anything. I just want you to understand how not to die in your airplane. For my tiny little itty bitty fledgling YouTube channel, Dan Grider, probable cause.